Hey guys, what's up? It's Ava Addy, but today I'm gonna go by my real name, which is Adele. And as you read from the title, this is a completely different video. It's a very vulnerable video. I've never made something this authentic before. This is my testimony. I'm really excited to share my story. I hope that my story helps others. But just give a fair warning, there's a lot of triggering things that I'm going to talk about, but all in all, I'm excited for you to hear what I've gone through and to see where I am right now with my faith. So my family is Christian, and they raised me Christian, and they used to take me to church, and I was a part of Sunday school, and I didn't really care for it, only because I knew of Jesus, but I didn't know Jesus, or I didn't know God. I was far too young to comprehend God and Jesus, and faith. But all that changed just a year ago, actually. I mean, I've always been faithful in God, but I haven't taken it really serious. So I'm going to go into where everything changed for me. So my livelihood is music. I am a musician. I go by the name Adelora on Spotify, and that's just my artist name. I've always been a very healthy girl, always been healthy in my teens, but that changed when I was 17. I had some health issues where I had to get surgery for it, and then things got worse in the summer of 2018, I think. I can't even remember the timestamps very well, but I know it was in the summer of 2018. I was a part of this program called Music Theater Intensive, which is basically doing 2 Broadway plays in 3 weeks, under 3 weeks. But the plays are just kind of small snippets, but it was still a really fun opportunity. I got to dance, and I actually got to be a part of what Broadway would have been like. I fell in love with it. I met new friends. I had a incredible experience, but everything changed until one of the days that I was at my musical theater thing was I felt like the floor was off, and I felt my heart beating kind of quickly, and I thought, oh, I probably have a little bit of motion sickness from taking a bus, because I had to wake up 4 a.m. in the morning to catch a bus at 5, and then my musical theater thing ends at 4:30 p.m. So it's a long day. So I thought, okay, I'm just tired. So I would take a Gravel and think that it had to maybe do with motion sickness, and taking the Gravel would have helped me feel better with that. What I thought would be an easy fix was not an easy fix. I started having vertigo, and my symptoms just became worse. When my mother's side of the family came over for a gathering, I had such bad vertigo that I had to lay in my bed and put my head in the pillow and just wait for the vertigo to stop. Then I started losing hearing when I was in my karate class. I'm a first degree black belt, and in a lot of the classes that I was in, I would literally lose my hearing for hours. And it would be muffled bucket hearing. And I thought, okay, it probably has to do with just my ears. Maybe I have earwax. No, it was not earwax. So my parents were kind of like, that's a little weird. But I didn't think anything of it. I left it alone. And it wasn't until I entered grade 12 in high school that everything, all my symptoms, became debilitating. On the first day of grade 12, I was able to walk. I felt just fine. Everything was good. Everything was great. I was in my last class, which was art, and a friend that I kind of knew a little bit from school, we didn't talk a whole lot, she was telling me in art class that someone was making fun of her and calling her fat, which was unacceptable behavior. And I said, what the hell? Show me who it is. So I went out of the art class, she showed me who it was, and I sat him down and I said, that's unacceptable. You can't talk to her like that. I didn't really know the girl very well, but still, when I see someone's getting bullied, I do something about it. So I told the boy, you should apologize to her, that's wrong. He did, and she said to me, the girl who was getting bullied, thank you so much for stepping in. I had never had something like this happen where someone would step in. I'm like, all good. Literally, the next day, I'm in a wheelchair. Sorry guys, I thought that the next day I was in a wheelchair. The next day was where all the symptoms got really, really bad, debilitating. I literally couldn't walk a straight freaking line without feeling like I was gonna faint. I had severe ear pain, severe vertigo, but somehow I made it through to the last class. The last class was art, and I had a good friend of mine. She sat just across me, and I had two other friends of mine that were with me. And my friend across me was like, "You don't look well, are you okay?" I said to her, "Oh my gosh, my ear is really hurting. I'm not feeling good." And then I passed out. And then I didn't pass out for too long, but I kind of was like, oh, I came to a little bit, and my teacher was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" I told her what was happening. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you have vertigo. You should probably go to the doctors and get it looked at," because I didn't know what vertigo was, and I didn't know if I had a brain tumor. I didn't know what was going on, so my mom took me to the doctor, and we were ruling out if I had a tumor. That's usually what they do if you're getting headaches or vertigo. They're like, okay, let's see if it's this. Luckily, it wasn't a tumor. They literally couldn't find out. They just said, "Oh, it's vertigo." And so from there, it just became hell for me. My symptoms were so debilitating that I was actually in a wheelchair just a few days later, after the incident of me standing up for a friend of mine. I didn't really know her very well, but I still say she was a friend. And people were absolutely dumbfounded. They were like, "Oh, why are you in a wheelchair?" They were thinking I was very suspicious of faking my disease. Bullshit like that, which wasn't true. I just couldn't walk. And I could barely make it through the semester because I'd have seizures every day. I could barely make it through my school. My dad or my mom would have to always pick me up. Like, I was doing horrendous in school with this. I literally just couldn't make it through class. I couldn't even make it through a whole day. My depression with my disease was debilitating. I was at the point where I wanted to kill myself. And I was so depressed. I was at the worst I could have been. And I had this friend group of mine. They weren't the best, but I was a complete jerk to them. I was at my lowest, and I started not treating them great. And I was just not well. It got to the point where my teachers knew how sick I was. I was saying to them, like, "I want to pass grade 12 and all this." They're like, "We'll pass you. Like, we know you're sick." You know, but like, because of how I was acting out to some of my friends, they started a rumor that I was faking my disease. And then I got made fun of at school for my disease. Because I was in a wheelchair, I couldn't even get to some of my classes. One of the classes I had was choral class, and there was no handicap door to open. You had to ask for somebody to open up the door for you. Like, my life was no longer just me living my individual, where I had everything in control, where I do things for me. It was always asking people to do things for me. It was such an awful experience, and this went on for a very long time. I was in a wheelchair. It was such a dark time for me, and it's really hard to talk about. There was just a lot of times where I didn't want to be alive anymore, and I butchered a lot of my high school year because I was so depressed. I just wasn't great to people. And so I finally graduated, and I left school behind, and for the next 5 years I was on the quest to find what was wrong with me. I lived in my room, in my four walls. I watched people live. I watched people date. I watched people get their license. I watched people get a job. And guess what I was doing? Laying in my bed, having multiple attacks in a day. And I got to the point where I said, fuck it. I said to my mom, I'm going to save up for a PS4 because I want to do something with my life. And if that's not getting a job right now, I want to at least do something where it's a positive thing on YouTube. I wanted to be a YouTuber. So I bought myself a PS4 finally, and I started to stream, and that took off. When I started my channel, I didn't take it very serious, but in the grace of God, it just kind of blew up and it became amazing. And I I knew a boy from my school. Him and I were friends, but we weren't very close because I was sick. I just didn't really care to get to know a lot of people. But he saw a live stream of me playing a certain game, and we bonded and we became really close friends. And he said to me on one of the streams him and I were doing together, he said, "Oh my gosh, I have a friend who's a Christian boy who's an artist, he sings, blah, 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 blah. I think you two would get along very well. I think he would make a really good friend for you." I was like, okay. So I did a live stream with my buddy at the time, and he introduced me to him. And at first, the guy that he introduced me to was a real douchebag. But then things changed. At the time, I was just so excited to meet new people, but I didn't know that my friend introduced me to somebody that would absolutely be detrimental to my health. I'm not going to go into a whole lot, but me and this boy decided to date each other, and we were together for 3 years. It was an online relationship. It was long distance. A lot happened in that relationship, but he was insanely abusive, and he had a severe porn addiction, and he would cheat on me all the time, and he would do heinous things towards me. It was the worst relationship I've ever been in, but I loved him so much, and I was desperate at the time because I didn't think that anyone would want me because I was sick, and having somebody who was interested in me, I was really happy and appreciative of it. But loving him came with challenges of pain, and that's where my faith kind of went south, was because he claimed that he was a Christian, and he did not embody what a Christian was at the time. He embodied anger, he embodied a lot of not good things and good traits. But because I was so involved with him and so desperate for him to love me, I fell in a Stockholm Syndrome relationship with him. I didn't want to leave him. He had me wrapped around his finger so well. And I wanted to work things out with him, but he didn't want to work it out with me. He decided to dump me a few years ago and pursue himself. And that was all the relationship really was him pursuing just himself. He didn't want to try to make himself better. So he just decided to dump me out of the blue. He didn't want to fix things or work on things. And that fucked me up for a while until I really took time to pursue just me. I didn't pursue faith just yet. But I started pursuing myself and started to get healthy and worked on my body, started working out and started doing all these things and started switching my clothes up and started finding who I was. And I got to a really good place, and then I started to get really good gigs, and I started writing a really amazing original music, and I started to just be the Adele that I knew I was, but I couldn't be because I was held back from my sickness and held back from toxic people and a toxic relationship I was with my ex. When my ex dumped me, I was gung-ho on not wanting to move on, but I met a new guy while I was doing a few open mics, and I went through some stuff with another relationship where I was drugged. This person drugged me and SA'd me. And my faith hasn't awoken in me yet. I mean, when I tell you that I strayed away from God, I strayed away from God. Like, it wasn't on purpose where I was pushing him away. It's just, I didn't really have time to pursue God, which is so not okay, but I was just so busy dealing with traumatic stuff. I kind of forgot that God was there. And so I just didn't trust another guy after being sexually assaulted. And then I just again started to pursue my music, and I did a few other gigs in the summer, and then I came across another guy, and him and I are still together today, and he was better than the other guys for sure. Treated me a lot better than the other guys. And I still didn't really take faith seriously until just a year ago. My uncle had a heart attack, and he went to church a lot, and he passed away. And this was my turning point where I wanted to honor him by going to church, and that's where my faith changed. I want to just put this in that last summer I went camping with my family, and I was introduced to this really sweet girl. Her name's Allie. She's like a best friend of mine, and she talked about going to church and all this stuff, and it spoke to me. It felt nice to talk to a genuine Christian who was authentic and really serious about her faith. And so I remembered that. But when my uncle passed away and suddenly died, I wanted to honor him. So I texted Allie and I said, I want to go to church and honor him. But really, I think I wanted to honor myself and take faith serious. And I did. And I started to buy my Bible and be a part of the Bible study. And I started making new friends. And I started taking faith seriously. Like, I have given myself to God. I want to get baptized. Like, God has really spoken to me. Like, it's time to be with him. Accepting Jesus in my life has made me the happiest person I could possibly be right now. He has given me the opportunity to put my music on Spotify. He's given me the opportunity to write more amazing songs. He's made me the best authentic person I could possibly be for everybody in my life, friends, family, my partner. Accepting God in my life has helped me through a lot of things. One of them has to be about my best friend who died this year. He's helped me get through that, and somebody in my family is really sick right now, and he's helping me right now get through that. So God has done so much for me in my life in just a short span of a year already. I'm going through a lot right now, a lot of personal stuff, and I decided to go to church today, and this priest put his hand on me and he started to pray for me, and then my friend put her hand on me and started to pray for me. Like, I think what I want to teach people is you can go through a lot of bad things in your life, and bad things happen. I mean, like, I went through sexual assault, I went through an abusive relationship, I'm going through a rough time right now, someone's sick in my family, my best friend died this year. Like, I've been through a lot, but sometimes things happen, but it's how you deal with them. And it's, if you're gonna let that crumble you and further you from God, it's just testing you, and you have to decide of what you want to do, if you want to make a positive or a negative. And when it comes to my disease, life is so precious. You don't know what you have until it's taken from you. So I want you to enjoy being healthy. I want you to hug those that mean something to you, because you don't know. But at the end of all of the hell I've been through in just a year, and even last year and the year before that, God was there by my side. And all that you really have left when things go bad is faith. You have to have faith. And you guys can, if you don't know me, you can just send me a message on here and say, please pray for me, and I'll pray for you. If you guys need anything, any guidance or anything, just reach out to me. I have a social media. My name's Adalora. You can look me up. I'm always going to be here for you. God's always going to be there for you. And know that you're loved, and know that you're worth it, and know that you are beautiful. I'm going to end the video here. I've had to redo this video so many times, so I'm not emotional, and I don't want to be emotional. I want this to be a positive message. But I love you guys. I love whoever you are watching. Know that you can always talk to me if you need anything, and don't lose faith in God. Keep on the right path. Do the best you can, and know that you're gonna get through it. And just know that bad things happen to everybody. It's how you deal with it, and just know you're not alone. You're never gonna be alone. You'll always have somebody there by your side, and that's either God or people that you trust. So with that being said, this is my testimony. I really hope that my story maybe spoke to you, or it even helped you. I don't really know. I just hope that it did something for you. And even if it didn't speak to you, maybe there were some things I did say in the video that did kind of reach you. Even if you didn't go through similar things, that's okay. But thank you for watching the video, and God bless. And the next big thing that's coming my way is getting to know God even more, and going to get myself baptized next year, which I'm super excited about. I'm definitely going to be posting about that. But in the meantime, God bless you. I love you, and have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world, and know that you are